Hi there, Laura here from Get Organized HQ, and I want to talk about some of the things that the minimalists aren't telling you. I know that minimalism in general has gotten a lot of attention over the past few years, and you probably see a lot of people talking about it. And whether you think you do want to be a minimalist, or if you're like, I already know minimalism is not for me, I think these are some things that you're gonna want to hear. I'm gonna assume that since you're watching this video, that you have probably seen some videos pop up in your feed about minimalism. You probably watched some of those. You've probably read some people's stories about that. Maybe you even read books on the topic. And here's kind of what I think happens a lot of times, because I have been right there and I have read this amazing story about how somebody was just feeling overwhelmed with life. I'm imagining a lot of you can relate, and I mean, I will tell you, I definitely feel that way sometimes. I'm just feeling overwhelmed, and there's too much to do, and there's too much to keep track of, and I'm feeling indecisive. And then I read this story about this minimalist, like they were feeling the same way, and then they got rid of like 50, 80, 90% of their stuff, and they live in this tiny house, and life is amazing now. You know, they don't feel overwhelmed. They feel calm, and everything is great. And it can be tempting from that to think, okay, the problem with my life is that I have too much stuff. I need to get rid of a whole bunch of my stuff, go live in a tiny house, and I will then be happy. But here's the truth. Minimalism is and can be wonderful, but it will not solve all of your problems. The only problem that getting rid of a large percentage of your stuff will solve is your clutter problem. There's really no other problems that it directly solves. Now, first of all, I want to be really clear. I am not saying that these stories are not helpful, or that they're not true, or that they're not inspiring, and that you shouldn't read them. That is totally not true. I have read a lot of them. They have been helpful. They are inspiring. I 100% believe most of the people who are telling them are actually telling you the truth about their lives and their minimalism journey. That being said, I think if you start to get the idea that minimalism is just going to solve all your problems, here's where I think you might want to take a step back and think a little bit more about that. So if you do make a lot of progress toward minimalism, if that is your goal, or even if that's not your goal, but you know that you have a lot of clutter that you need to get rid of, and you make a lot of progress, sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating and discouraging if you still have a lot of problems in life and you think, what have I done wrong? Do I need to get rid of more stuff? Is that the problem? Or what's going on here? And the truth is that in that case, you were probably expecting that by getting rid of a lot of stuff, it would actually bring you more relief than it really does. So I do think if you are at the beginning of your journey or in the middle of your journey and you still have a lot of stuff that you know you both need and or want to get rid of, I very much encourage you to keep doing that. I have tons of videos on the channel. I'll link to a playlist down below that give you tips and advice on decluttering. I'm a huge proponent of that, and I think it has a ton of benefits. Like, you know, if you walk into a room and there's just junk everywhere, you start to feel a little bit just overwhelmed. Absolutely. But then if you get rid of that junk and you know you've taken care of that, and you walk into that room and it's just fresh and there's space to breathe, you automatically feel better. So it absolutely can help you feel better, help your outlook on things. I also think that one of the things that we tend to overlook is often we tend to think about the end goal. So we think, okay, so the goal is to get rid of stuff. Maybe it's to get rid of this much stuff. Maybe it's to be able to walk into every room and, you know, not see junk places. Whatever your goal is, you think that's it. I want to get there and then I'll feel better. But the truth is you learn just as much or more through the process itself than from the end result. So I think in a lot of the stories that I read, it's not just that somebody had a lot of clutter and now they don't, so they're living in a space that's just freer and better, but it's that they got so much confidence about themselves and in their ability to take control of their lives and make positive changes, and that has more effect than getting rid of the clutter itself. Because then you know, I'm a person who can do something that's really hard, and that process is more valuable than the end result itself. And that is also why I think that you should not wait to start your life and the things you really want to do until you feel like you have met your decluttering goals. Because it's kind of like they'll tell you, you know, if you want to lose weight, Don't wait to do all the things that you think you'll be able to do, like traveling and being involved in more things, until you get to your goals. Start now. Start being the person that you want to be. I would say the same thing about living a more clutter-free lifestyle is go ahead and do the things that you want to do starting now. Don't wait until you think you've gotten to some goal. Start being that type of person now. So, for example, if you want to have people over to your home more often, and you think, okay, well, that'll be better. Like, maybe I need to wait until I declutter everything. That's not true. Start now. Start having them over. Clear off enough space that you can sit down at your dining table. If there's so much clutter that you really can't even do that, then start by inviting them to go to the park with you or going out to eat with you. But start doing those things now. Start becoming that person. Don't feel like you need to wait until your home is under control. And I will tell you, even as a person who makes their living by sharing about organization, my house, I don't feel like it's arrived at all. I have spaces of clutter. I have bins in the garage. While they look tidy, we moved, almost 3 years ago now, and I've never opened a couple of them. I don't even know what's in there. I probably need to get rid of that. Behind me, in the room directly behind me, it's what I call my junk room, and that's where you put all your junk, that you don't know where to go. And I haven't gotten to that yet, and I will tell you, underneath of my bathroom sink is legit scary. But I'm not waiting until I take care of all those things, because I would probably never get there. And even if I did, it would last for 2 weeks until something else comes in. So I don't feel like I need to get there. You can walk into my house, you can sit on my couch, you can sit at my table, that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I don't have to feel like I've arrived. And really, our homes are supposed to be in a constant state of flux. It's not like a journey where there is a true end destination and you can just get there. It is the type of thing, and you have to adjust your mindset to think, this is always something I'm working on. And maybe at one point in your life, you enjoyed having a little bit more stuff. And maybe at another point, you actually would like a little bit less, or vice versa. So there isn't really an end. It is just a way of living, and go ahead and start embracing that way of living now. Another reason why I think it's important to realize that minimalism is not the magic cure for all your problems, and not even for your home actually, is that it's okay if you don't have a goal of minimalism or to be a minimalist, or if you define minimalism in your own terms. So, for one person, they may own 4 plates and, live in a small abode, and that is minimalism for them. But maybe your version of it is you actually have 28 plates because you entertain a lot and you have a bigger space. You either define it in your own way, or if you just say, yeah, I don't want to live with excess clutter. That's not fun. I still want to work on that, but I don't really have a goal of being a minimalist. That is totally fine. And actually, for myself, I would say that is what is true for me. I see a lot of people who want to be a minimalist and really try to live with as little as possible. And I think that's great and wonderful and works for them, but that isn't my goal or what works well for me. So, for example, let's say that you, like myself, are struggling to keep your kitchen tidy. It's just, there's constantly dishes, there's constantly work to do, and you think, maybe my problem is I need to get rid of more stuff. Well, here's the deal. First of all, if you tackle, under your bathroom sink where there's a bunch of junk, it's not going to help you one bit with keeping the kitchen tidy. Also, you might think, well, I'd have less work to do if I got rid of, I have 12 plates, well, maybe I should take it down to 4. You're still going to wash plates the same number of times. It's still, for my family of 4, if we eat, we use 4 plates. We use 4 plates for breakfast, 4 plates for lunch, and 4 plates for dinner. That is 12 times per day that I am washing a plate. That is not going to change whether I have 4 plates or whether I have 12 plates. If I choose to only have 4 plates, that's fine. That means I now have taken away my flexibility of when I wash dishes. With whether I want to or not, I must wash them between each meal. Now, that may be what you're going for. You may be like, I would like to force myself to wash plates between each meal because I know I'm going to feel better that way. If that's you, go for it. That is not me. Do you know what that does to me? That causes me additional stress. Now I have the pressure of, even if I have a really busy, time between breakfast and dinner, and I have errands to run and places to go, and I get back and I want to eat lunch and we're all hungry, I got to stop and wash the 4 plates. I would much rather be able to just have those in the dishwasher or set those to the side and know that I have 4 more clean plates to get out. So that is what works for me. The same is true with laundry. I've tried this before, and I've heard a lot of people say, and maybe there's something I'm not understanding. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried it and it works for you, saying that by having less clothes, that they have less laundry to do. Well, I still wear the same number of clothes that need to be washed, and so do my kids. whether they have 22 outfits or whether they have 5 outfits. And I have found for myself, if they each have 5 outfits, for example, which I think would be fairly minimalisty, I would pass the minimalism test. Well, then that has taken away my flexibility. Now, I can never have the classic Mount Washmore because there's literally not enough clothes. Like, I don't have enough clothes to make that happen, which that's good. You know, I'm never going to have this huge pile. But on the flip side, I have just taken away my flexibility. Now, if, and this has really happened, you know, I'm pretty busy, there's work stuff going on, 2 members of my family get sick, and I'm overwhelmed, and I would rather skip laundry for the week, that choice is no longer available to me. I'm either going to have someone go without clothes, wear dirty clothes, or I'm going to have to go to the store and buy more clothes. Those are really my only options. So I just took away that flexibility. So know that a lot of minimalism is actually removing some flexibility, and that may be what you want. I think some people function really well in these rigid boundaries, knowing that I just feel comforted that I can never have Mount Washmore, and I am never ever again going to make an excuse about laundry because we would literally have to go without clothes or wear something dirty. I think that works for a lot of people, but it doesn't work for everyone. To me, that just causes me stress. I really like the flexibility of being able to go a week without laundry. And one of the reasons why I try to keep up with laundry is so I do have that freedom when a week is busy or when I travel for a week. I don't have to worry about the people at home still having to do laundry. I know they have plenty of clothes to wear. So the bottom line is that you really need to find what works best for you. If having a lot less stuff is working well for you and causes you less stress, wonderful, do it. If actually having a little bit more stuff is working for you and causing you less stress, that is wonderful, do that. That said, I would still always encourage everyone to get rid of the stuff that you don't need. It is going to help you feel better about yourself and just lighter and freer knowing that you don't have all the stuff that you don't need. And if you're looking for help with that, I have an entire decluttering playlist. I will link it down below with all of my best tips and advice.